Norwich 2, Wycombe 1. Let me go to the split screen. And Norwich, yet again, for the third game running, Norwich play against the Championship team who may well finish in the bottom 8. They huff and they puff and win with a pretty late goal, let's just say, in all of those games. So going to be very interesting analysing Norwich over these last 3 games. Not going to tell us as much as the next game, Brentford away, is going to tell us about their viability for a Championship challenge. What we do know about Norwich is they're stacked with quality. So Krul, Quintilla, Gibson, Hanley in over Zimmerman. He's injured. Aarons, Rupp and Skip. Cantwell, Pookie, Buendia there with Hugel. So tons and tons of quality in that team. They play League One's 8th place team when the clock stopped last season. No, we're not bitter about the points per game much, are we? Wycombe, there, Grimmer, Knight, Stewart, Jacobson in front of Allsop, Horgan, Thompson, Adenarian on your dimmer, Cashkit and Wheeler. Unlikely that was the team shape SofaScores come up with. Normally more a 4-5-1. I didn't see the game, but I would suspect that Wheeler might have been either in the 10 or on the right wing with Horgan in the 10. If anyone saw the game, they can let me know. Let's have a little look at some of this. Now, if I'm a Norwich fan, which I'm not, I want to see this. I want to see Emi Buendia playing brilliant through balls to Timu Pukki, who runs through and cool as ice, goes through and chips it into the goal. Now, I would much rather see that than the ball being crossed into Jordan Hugel. Now, I know you can do both, but if I'm a Norwich fan, look, if I'm a Championship fan, I've seen that the evidence of the ball being slipped through to Timu Pukki and him slotting in finishes resulted in Norwich getting promoted in 2019. I've also seen the evidence of the ball being clipped into Jordan Hugel, not get Middlesbrough promoted, not get Preston promoted, and not get QPR promoted. So let me just say, of the evidence I've seen in my lifetime of the two things, if I'm a Norwich fan, I want to see that. I want to see Buendia sliding it through to Pukki and Pukki finishing much more like he was in 2019, because that worked a treat back then, didn't it? Let's just say. Here's some awful defending by Norwich. It's gone in long. 7 is Wheeler, who's headed it on. And Grant Hanley is going to make an absolute mess of this. One thing you know about Wycombe is that whoever's playing up front, Samuel or Casket, is going to press the hell out of every ball. So he needs to deal with this, Hanley. Him and Krul, look, we don't know what was said on the pitch, but in my estimation, Hanley sticks that out for a throw-in. But he doesn't. Look where it ends up, in the goal, and look at Grant Hanley with his head in his hands. Again, we don't know whether Krul called, whether Hanley called, but there's a time where, as a defender, you say, I cannot see everything here. The ball's coming back. I get in front of the guy. I don't concede a penalty, for goodness sake, and I deal with this ball. And he didn't, and Wycombe scored. Here are a couple of pretty big chances. Yeah, no pressure on the shooter there. That must be Rupp with a big chance there for Norwich. Doesn't take it. Here is Pukki. Pressure on him there, so maybe not a big chance with the angle there, but look how close he is on goal. Doesn't take it. Here is Cantwell, left-hand side of the box. Okay, that's a more difficult chance. Doesn't take it. So here's the pattern with Norwich over the last 3 games. They play against some teams with respect to Rotherham, Birmingham and Wycombe today. They play against some teams that are not expected to finish massively high up in the table. They huff and they puff. They go into the late moments having missed some bigger chances. So the evidence says they're not taking the majority of their big chances yet. Good that they're creating them, though. And then we get an absolute moment of quality to win the game. And look, it's a really, really good free kick here. That is Mario Vrancic with his left foot. The wall looks okay. Look at Allsop in the goal. Look at where Vrancic puts it, right up in that top corner. But I just must say one thing here. In 18-19, I was at 2 games where Mario Vrancic scored pretty much exactly the same free kick he scored yesterday. He's a left footer. in that position centrally, I'm sorry, and I don't know if Wycombe did their research. It is so blindingly obvious where he's going to put that. I saw him do it against Leeds at Elland Road, and I saw him do it against Sheffield Wednesday in the last minute in exactly the same position. I think Allsop, if he's done his research in the goal, needs to call Vrancic's bluff there and say, look, I think I know where you're going to put this. And yeah, it's in the top corner. But if he starts a couple of feet over and calls his bluff and says, are you good enough to put it this other side? If you are, fine, go ahead and do it. But I think you're going to put it this side. That's all I'm saying with that. It's a really good free kick, isn't it? Right up into the top corner. And Norwich get the win with a brilliant free kick from Vrancic there. Again, a bit of quality very, very late in the game against the team that's lost all their games so far. I'm just making all these points because people always want me to predict the future, right? And we need to try and do this with Norwich going forward. And it's a drop confusing at the moment, even after 3 wins in a row, just because of the way that they've come. Quickly, one here. I don't know what's going on there. That's Joe Jacobson and Adam Eder. Look, only they're going to know. I'm not interested in debating whether Adam Eder intended to bash into Joe Jacobson while he's on the floor. Only Adam Eder knows that. And he's never going to admit it if he did want to. So, look, he was red carded. Whether they appeal or not, whether they get off or not, I don't know. It didn't really affect the game. It was in the 95th minute. Let's have a look at the numbers, which are going to tell us the exact... Wow, look at that possession number. The exact same story, pretty much, of the last... Look, the Rotherham game was a bit different. Rotherham were far more competitive than Birmingham or Wycombe have been, let's just say. But, look, 75% possession, 25 shots, 6 of them on target, 1 big chance. So they haven't classed Rupp. Maybe they're classing Rupps as the big chance, are they? No, I think they're classing Pookies because it doesn't say any big chances missed there. So there is an argument that Norwich took all of their big chances there. But I'm arguing that the chances for Rupp and Campbell as well, you know, maybe if their finishing was really, really on point, they could do more with it. But very, very interesting trying to analyse Norwich at the moment, and very, very tricky because and Norwich fans get irritated with me making this comparison. But look, for God's sake, it's the same manager, the same club, the same division, and a lot of the same players. So I'm going to make a comparison back to all of those factors in 18-19, where the one thing we can say about that is they took a while to get going. So if that happens again, then they'll be absolutely fine this season. But the way Norwich won games in 18-19 with a lot of these players, this manager in this division, was different than they're winning games at the moment. They dominated. They created tons of chances. They created 3 and 4 big chances, 5 sometimes, every game. And Timu Pukki put them in. Or the midfield's out. Buendia and Aarons and Pukki killed teams. Absolutely like that. So that would seem to make sense as what Farke would be trying to do still with Norwich right now, wouldn't it? Because it worked before. 94 points? They were brilliant, weren't they? At the moment, that is not happening. They're not creating that many big chances. And look, point to me at the possession all you like. Point to me at some, a few chances being missed. Fine. That is not what was happening in 18-19. And when they won the games late on in 18-19, it wasn't through a bit of quality. Often it was through just, attack. And the other teams just wilted in the end. We saw it over and again. And they just created big chance after big chance after big chance. And in the end, those late wins Norwich got in those divisions, they deserved to win a lot of them over the course of the 90 minutes. It's a little bit different here. And I think we find a lot more out about Norwich on Tuesday night away at Brentford than we will do with a last-minute penalty win against 10 men against Rotherham, a last-minute or 86th minute win against 10 men against Birmingham, bit of quality from Vrancic in that one, and a last-minute win against Wycombe, stoppage time, with a brilliant free kick, where, frankly, in those games, we have not seen the pattern that we saw in 18-19. Now, again, I will say this, I'll come to your comments in just a sec. 2 things will happen now. Either Norwich are not quite where they were in 18-19, and they will regress. And when they play better teams with respect than Rotherham, Birmingham, and Wycombe, who they've beaten, they will lose. Or they will start to work more towards where they were in 18-19. They will get better as the season goes. They will create more big chances, and they will start to be far more like they were. Look, I'm not saying they have to be exactly the same team. They won't be, but you've still got Aaron's, Buendia and Pukki, which, frankly, they were the players that were the star players for Norwich in that season, weren't they? So that would be my read on Norwich. One of those two things is going to happen. We don't know yet what's going to happen. And this is the Championship. And remember, this is the season, I think, of the churn. This is the season of Michael O'Neill, Gareth Ainsworth, Gary Rowett, Vladimir Ivic, Veljko Paunovic. We're seeing a lot of teams who are good without the ball. So, look, it might be that this is the solution for Norwich. They're just going to have to grind these teams down and win games. Neil Warnock, by the way, sorry, the master of the grind. But that would be my view. So what I'm saying on Norwich, because people like me to give a concrete view, is yes, well done, 3 wins in a row, but we don't have enough yet clear evidence to see whether which one of the two things is going to happen, as in they're going to regress down a bit and stop winning games, or things are going to start to work in their favour. They're growing into the season, they're going to start winning games. Woo! Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/BenjaminBloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.